Am I the asshole for getting an abortion and then filing for divorce? I, 33F, and my husband, 35M, have been married now for 2 years. While we were dating, the conversation of kids had come up multiple times, and I had always expressed that I did not think I would be a good enough mother for my children, a lot of personal trauma earlier in life. He, however, had mentioned before that he would like to have kids, but he respected my thoughts and decision on the matter. I married him under this notion. Well, a couple months ago I had some suspicion that I was pregnant, went to the doctor, and she confirmed my suspicions. Thankfully, I live in a state where abortions are legal, and I thought about just going through with it on my own, but I decided to involve him in the process. As soon as I broke the news to him, he immediately became overjoyed, saying how it was a great thing and he was so excited. I promptly remind him of our conversation about me not wanting children. He decided that the conversation was so long ago, he was sure I'd have changed my mind by now, and tried persuading me every way he could. It got to the point where he was pleading with me to not kill his child. Well, I decided to go through with it. The next couple weeks or so after, he was extremely distant, muttered under his breath frequently, and would hardly look at me. I found out from my MIL that he blames me for killing our child and he can't forgive me for it. Knowing that this is how he saw me now, I decided to get a divorce. When I told him, he immediately erupted, speaking, yelling, the most words at me in a while. I didn't hear much of it, as I promptly left and haven't spoken to him or been back since, as I am staying with my sister. This whole thing has been a nightmare. Edit, I was on birth control at the time when I would have gotten pregnant. Edit 2. I cannot begin to express how grateful I am to have so many of you sharing all these kind words. Sometimes words from strangers on the internet can be very consoling. Now, many of you have mentioned that he possibly messed with my BC in some way or form. I spoke to my MIL, she and I have always been close, and she agreed to help me check by getting him out of the house so I can check his search history to see if he looked up how to do it. Thank you to the Redditor who suggested this. I will also be grabbing the pills I left behind, as I am sure they are still in the cabinet, and will be seeing about getting them checked. I will post an update if I find anything out. Ada has no consensus bot, OOP was NTA. Comments. CJS 300, NTA, but what is it with couples who get together and think they can change the person with their love? Children/abortion is a deal breaker, regardless of opinion on the subject. Quick Draw 55, everyone saying that he must have tampered with the birth control. It isn't 100% effective. I fell pregnant with my first child on the pill. It happens. But NTA for getting a divorce. You guys are no longer compatible. Kacha_12388, I thought you'd change your mind, as if that's justifiable to force you into carrying a human being and ultimately change your life forever. You said you never wanted kids from the beginning. He married you knowing that kids wouldn't be in your future together. You did the decent thing by telling him your plans because he was your partner, and he showed you who he really was in the end. And you didn't kill a child. He's the AH for saying you did. NTA. Sorry you had to go through a difficult decision such as an abortion, only to also realize the person you married wasn't there for you when you needed him. OOP, thanks for the support. It is a bit frustrating that he expected me to change my mind when he clearly wasn't open to changing his mind on the matter. Creepy Passenger 506, NTA, and every story like this reminds me of a Reddit post where some guy begged his then GF to keep his baby. Him and his family paid for everything relating to the baby, and when it was born the GF surrendered her rights and paid 125% of court-ordered child support. She called herself an egg donor instead of a mom, and the guy was surprised at Pikachu's face and called her a bad mom for not changing her mind and raising the baby with him. Being child-free is a hard line for a lot of people, and no amount of time/love/begging will change that position. Update. Like I mentioned in the last edit, my MIL would be helping me get him out of his house so I can get my pills and check his computer. Well, she took him to lunch today and I was able to do just that. I grabbed the pills and then went to check his computer. Conveniently, his search history only went back to right after I would have gotten pregnant. I went back to my sister's place and packaged the pills and sent them to a lab for testing. It was a little after lunchtime that I got a call from my MIL. Wouldn't you believe it that he openly admitted to her about tampering with my pills by microwaving them. Apparently he was feeling pretty guilty about it the more he thought on the matter and just kind of broke down to her. She said she was left speechless and that she raised him better than that. I have already contacted a family lawyer and will be taking legal action. While tampering with BC is not specifically a crime, it could be considered fraud, rape, or assault. Not to mention the fact that I just had to go through an unnecessary abortion because of his ass. That's where it stands right now. Thank you all for the support, and to the people repeatedly telling me to unalive myself, I hope you find help. Moving to the second story. You can't just break up with me. I made a dumb joke about my BF Ada. So I need the opinion of people not attached to me or him, but my BF got mad at me Sunday and he's been ignoring me since, so I feel like maybe I am TAH. So I am F35 and he is M35 and we've known each other for 10 years and dated too. He knows how much I like writing books. I self-published a kid's book last month and he's been really quiet about it. This past weekend at my family cookout my father mentioned the book and how proud he is of me, but BF walked inside saying he was grabbing our drinks. At the end of the day my parents offered me some money to go to a book convention and BF audibly scoffed. On the way home I asked what his deal was and he said that his job, he's a back-end software engineer, will provide for us and he will let me have my fun as a creative for now, but I eventually have to grow up. I laughed because I assumed he was joking. He of course was upset and told me my meaningless book was objectively illustrated poetry. I shut down and he then was upset I was acting mad, so I changed the subject. He continued to make my book a topic by jokingly saying my glorified illustrated poetry shows my middle child syndrome, or that I must crave mediocre attention from people. I shrugged and replied, "Hey, if you think you're mediocre, okay," and moved on. He texted me the next morning saying I tore him down and was being a bully. Nad, he was kidding with me and he hasn't at all responded to me since. I am away on a planned work trip and now I am overthinking it. Maybe Ada. There is no consensus bot on Ada, but a majority of comments are NTA. Update post, June 4, 2024, 3 days later. Edit to say I am calling him Chris here. Hey y'all, on mobile, but had to post this because what a time to be alive. I broke up with Chris a few hours ago. Boy howdy. He had ignored me for a full day and I hadn't reached out to him because I was honestly fed up with his attitude. We've been together for 2 years and I have never seen him act this way. I flip-flopped between maybe he was having a bad day or something was going on and he transferred his negative energy in my book, but no, he's just a soggy moldy baby carrot that didn't think I had dreams of my own or I would throw it away for him. Our mutual friends have told me that he had basically told them that I rubbed my success in his face and made him feel like a simp just following his GF around being ignored when he has a successful business and has a higher paying job. He texted the day after his silent treatment that my not reaching out to him was a sign that I don't love him and went on to say that I love my book more than I love him because I neglected him while working on it, and then I didn't praise him at the party as my biggest supporter. The rest of his paragraph's long text went on to talk about that he had this whole plan that he would marry me and we would be engaged this year, but then you started not listening to me to drop things and focus on us, our lives and the future, by taking up hobbies, and that my therapist poisoned me against him. I was diagnosed with depression this year and therapy has helped a lot. It hurt because I felt immediately like all I did was just rubbish to him. How the fuck can you say that? I loved him so much because he was someone I thought I would be with forever. Guess not. I got angry and was texting him to ask, what makes you think I don't love you? I'd do anything for you. And just as I hit send his new message popped up and it said, you wrote your book and you got your party. I assume now that I can finally have my GF back, we can have a talk. I don't think you understand how I want our marriage to be, so I want to make things clear. But then he responded to my message, are you kidding me? If you're not going to prioritize me over a book no one but you cares about, why am I even staying with you? I can go find a woman supports her man and wants his career and dreams to be successful. So I said, alright. Go find her. We clearly don't work. Best of luck. Him, wait, are you breaking up with me? Me, what do you want me to do? You've made it clear I am not what you want anymore. Him, you can't just break up with me. Me, Chris, please. Him, you can't just make that decision for me. You can break us up like this. It's been 2 years, me, 2 years in which one thing I wanted to do, one thing I was proud to have done, and you needed to shit on it. You've been so sour about it and I don't get it. So get a better woman. Him, but you can't just break up with me. We have to talk. He calls. I decline. Him, pick up. You are being ridiculous. He showed up at my door and the second I opened it trying to push in, but I hadn't let the chain lock on. He was screaming at me. He said I can't break up with him. It's been 2 years. How do I think it will go for me to try dating again after passing the expiration date for children? That's when I asked him to leave or I would call the police. And he said he will never forgive me for this book as it's ruined me as a person, and for some reason I said, Chris, take your mediocre stick out of your mediocre ass and be on your mediocre way. And called my parents to tell them what happened. My mom is over now plying me with a mixed drink and she's been making fun of the repeated, you can't break up with me, line as he said many times in text and bunch in person. She said she was proud because I am usually quite passive and she didn't like him bulldozing over me, and when I asked her what she meant she brought up a lot of things I never really thought about. Chris would shoot me down a lot and I honestly thought I was compromising for our relationship, but it seemed to some that I was just letting him speak for me a lot. 2 years. It feels like a blip and a lifetime at the same time. It's hitting me that it's over and my mom is staying over with me. But I have many WTFs to deal with, just not tonight. Relevant comments. Commenter, I love your mom. Oh honey, your ex-boyfriend just called to tell us about the breakup. I am so proud of you. Here, let's have another drink. Oh, LMAO, that was honestly kinda the vibe. I was so upset and called my parents because I told them everything. My mom was just like, lock the doors and I will be there in 20 minutes, and showed up with vodka and let me cry, but then I caught her smiling and was like WTFMOM, and she admitted she was proud of me for dumping him, and glad she didn't have to go to jail because if I stayed with him after all that she would have to commit crimes, lol. Commenter, your mom is a badass. From now on, you know that if she doesn't like your partner, you really need to question that relationship. I'm happy you found your voice and used it. Dude was a total douchebag. Oh, she's being so freaking smug after she reminded me that once she did speak up to me once I got mad at her. She's quoting a line from that animated Jackie Chan show, Never Question Uncle, at me LMAO. Commenter, so what I've gathered is he's a narcissist and can't fathom the thought of you having anything going on that's not focused on him. Literally, me and what I want. Me again, and because you won't conform to a submissive wife focused on me. What a loser. Oh, it's weird because he never hinted that I can recall that he was ever like this. We've got years of history, and I remember him being interested in things I liked and wanted to get involved in. Then my mom reminded me of my painting. I'm not a painter. Mom is. And a charity held a gallery event and the theme was something basic, and I was visiting mom that week, and when I'm at hers and she's painting I sit with her and drink and we chat. But that day I was in a mood, so mom struck up an easel next to hers and patted the seat and we painted side by side. She loved my piece and had it submitted for the gallery event. It was a huge event and Mom had a separate exhibit space, but my little basic painting was up in entryway with a handful of others, and Mom pointed it out to Chris and he said it was good and we moved on. But at the end of the night Mom followed us out and suggested Chris and I might want to take a photo of us next to my painting. He said no, so Mom took a photo of me for me and shared it with herself. Chris asked me not to post the photo, saying it was a cry for attention and looked desperate and I was taking away from Mom's shine, so when my mom posted it he was mad at me. Why did I give my mom the photo? Why did she post it? But he suspiciously shared a photo Mom took of him at the same gallery, even shaking hands with a businessman we ran into, stating how proud she was of his work. The more I talk with my mom even now, the more she seems to pick up on things I feel bad about, but when I asked why she never said anything before, she said she had, but I had gotten angry at her. I can't even remember why. Commenter: so glad you dumped him. Oh, me too. I am sad too though. I know it doesn't make sense to be sad to not be with him given what happened, but I miss him already. Or as my mom says, I miss the idea of him. As I don't miss whatever demon spawn was at my door. Commenter: I'm so glad you're okay, but please never open the door like that again. Even with the chain on, it's still a huge risk. Those door chains aren't always secured with decent screws. The ones that come in the packet are usually short and useless and can be ripped out of the door with force. You can tell someone on the other side of your door that they're trespassing and you're calling the police by text message. Oh, okay. My mom, when I explained everything, looked at me like I had 3 heads when I said, oh, but the chain was one, so, and immediately hopped online and bought a Ring doorbell. I feel so naive. The only reason I have a chain is because I notoriously didn't lock my doors when I first got the place. My bestie hit the roof and got me a chain, and as we FaceTimed regularly she would always say, "Sew me the chain," and make sure I locked it and the door when I was inside. Commenter: downvoted. Do you have an actual job besides writing, or is he literally paying for all your shit while you pursue your writing hobby? I mean, I would be sick of you too if you're bumming around all day making $0. OOP, hi. Yes, I work in nonprofit management and state and federal grants. Last month I paid his electricity bill and late fees because his power was shut off. It costs $500. Is $500 enough for your sickness? Face blowing a kiss. Update, same post June 5, 2024, next day. Edit/small update, holy hell, this blew up. I am usually a Reddit lurker on anonymous mode, so I was overwhelmed in the best way to see all this live and support. It made me cry. Good years, I promise. I cried most of my bitter ones a bit last night on my mom's shoulder. She was right, I don't miss him, but the version of him I thought he was. And so I choose to look forward. Mom and I stayed up and read comments together. She's not a Reddit gal but loved all your messages and says she's happy to be the Reddit mom, lol. Mom made breakfast this morning and we were eating when there was a knock at the door. My mom held a hand up to halt me and got up herself to go to the door and ask who it was. Then I heard her say, "You have 15 seconds to leave or you're going to be made to leave." I got up to see Mom shouting through the still locked door, peeking through my peephole. There was someone on the other side talking back to her, but she just kept steadily counting down. By the time she got to 6, she had put her shoes on and was holding my broom. I'm not stupid, I knew it was him even then, but then my phone went off and I didn't reply. It was him again. He left flowers and an apology card, along with a stuffed owlbear. Mom asked me if I wanted to read the card and I said I did. It basically was a long-winded apology admitting he was being an ass, but work has him stressed and he underappreciated in general, and it all came out in a nasty way. He's so sorry. He should have given me space and respected me more, and he will never do it again. He didn't sleep last night feeling so much regret over what he did and will do better. Please call. That he misses me and the Mets not throwing away 2 good years of foundation away over a stupid fight. I handed it to my mother, who read it, snorting and chuckling, "Yeah, I bet," to herself, and then stood up and went to the kitchen, returning with a trash bag and my cell phone. "What's the play, coach?" she asked, and just to freak her out I took the phone and pretend to call the pizza shop. "Yes, Domino's. We need a pizza." "Yes, I'm breaking up with my ex and we need to toss his shit out." All that to say, it's now evening. The sun is lower and my neighbors are watching my house as I am in my parents' pool in their backyard drinking margaritas with my sister and brother. Mom tells the story to all of them over and over. I texted him, "Chris, we are done. All of the things you left at my place are in garbage bags on the porch. The neighbors have their camera pointed at the house, so please just take your stuff and go. Don't knock. I am not in. If it's all there on Monday, it goes with the rest of the garbage to the curb." He replied asking if not home, where was I, but I won't be giving energy to this. I will spend the weekend with my family and I feel so lucky to have them. I've decided that I will go for another book. For those asking for links to this book already out, sorry, but when Mom and I read the comments she said, "Don't you dare put your name out there. They all seem lovely, but you don't know what others will do," and I feel like if I did, it would be like opening the door to Chris like I did last night. You were right, that was dangerous. But if you are looking to do something nice, would be absolutely overjoyed if you did one or both of 2 things. 1. Love yourself and truly know you deserve love and nothing less, and 2. Buy books from a locally owned bookstore / buy art from the artist / commission an art piece, etc. The art world is wonderful but also a struggle, and many aren't as lucky as I am to have a strong support system. So support yourself and your local artist. Thank you all. Sparkles. Another edit. Sorry, there were a lot of the same questions in the comments. Yes, we were an interracial couple. I am Black / Indigenous / Middle Eastern. And he is of Irish and French descent. No, I do not want children. The moment I am eligible I will be getting that baby store shut down medically. I would adopt possibly someday, but I would not and should not be pregnant. Chris and I were friends before we started dating, so I thought I knew him and his family well. Mom has always been cordial with him even if she didn't care for him. She did the whole mama thing of hugging him, feeding him, etc. Yes, Mom will adopt you. She says she sends her heart to you and every hug you deserve and more. Dad didn't come over because, and I quote, "You wouldn't have wanted me in a space that boy would also be in given what happened," so he stayed the course of his trip he was on. I intend to be an author, whether it be full-time or part-time. Oddly enough, my book sales are skyrocketing a lot online.